Okay, folks, it's your buddy Mike Messier, or maybe you don't know who I am. I'm a guy who does YouTube videos. So let's talk about the New Edition story. Now, many of you fine folks have probably already watched this. It came out, I believe, in 2017. I just did a little Wikipedia research. After I watched the series, I found it very engaging. I watched it over the last, I'd say, 2.5 days. And each episode currently that I found it, I guess, on Paramount, 80 minutes, no commercials. That was nice. And there's always someone interfering with these. I'm trying to do my nice reviews, and people come along and they open their doors and so forth. But in any event, I thought it was a nice series. I wonder if this individual is going to leave anytime soon so we can go back to our discussion. But yes, it was good. One thing I just discovered that apparently the young actors playing, because they have both sets of New Edition guys. Now, if you don't know who New Edition is, you probably do, but they were a band the early 80s, the mid 80s into the mid 90s. Ralph Tresvant was, I guess, the lead singer, more or less. Bobby Brown, we all know who Bobby Brown is. My Prerogative, Bobby Brown. The members of Belle Biv DeVoe, and Johnny Gill. So all these wonderful singers. I can't say that I'm an expert on all these guys. I mean, I remember the hits. I remember Poison, of course. I remember Bobby Brown. Had a lot of big stuff. My Prerogative is still a great song. Thank you for leaving, by the way, so I can do this in peace and harmony. Speaking of which, peace and harmony and melody, and all those wonderful things that New Edition brought to the table, directly inspiring, Belle Biv DeVoe and others, and they're directly inspired by the Jackson 5. Wonderful, wonderful. So as far as the actual series goes, it's always fun to see Michael Rappaport play the white guy in these movies. It's a role that he was born to do. And I mean, I thought the movie was really, the series, I should say, but it felt very theatrical. I mean, it felt like they could have made this into a movie, but there's so much story to tell, for Christ's sakes. And I liked it. So, I mean, I guess I'm late to the party on this thing. I didn't realize how many hits these guys had. Telephone Man and Candy Girl. I mean, I knew Candy Girl, obviously, and I knew a couple of them, but I didn't realize. And also, this series just inspired me to put on my YouTube music thing, the Home Again, I guess was their comeback album, 96. I did catch something. I did catch a Keith Murray reference. I Get In You Like Murray. I caught Keith Murray's reference because I had that CD once upon a time. And overall, it's a good viewing experience. In case you haven't seen it, in case you happen to be a Mike Messier subscriber, I'm building up this channel, from the remnants of Subscribe to Mike Messier YouTube channel. This is one of the 3 divisions. One, Mike Messier. It's my straight to cameras to you, informal, just giving my opinions. What else do you want to hear about this thing, this New Edition thing? I don't know if I had any real problems with it. I just found it very entertaining. I'll be honest, at times during the long musical numbers, which felt like more or less reenactments of some of the videos, like the Belle Biv DeVoe and the My Prerogative. And I know that I did watch that famous interview they did with the woman and all 6 members. I found, what did I really get out of this thing? It's just the same old story, but told in a different way of bands. Bands, it's interesting. Bands are tough because everybody wants to be a star. That's why you're singing. That's why you're on stage. But to kind of temper your ego a bit and let other people shine for the good of the band, that's always been a problem. Whether it's been the Beatles or whether it's been this one or that one, you know what I mean? It's tough, and everybody, feels like they're the star. In this thing, you see that Ralph does a lot of the most work because he's got the best voice, according to everybody. But with that comes more responsibility. He's very professional. he puts his own solo album on hold against his better judgment at the advice of the musical, PR guy at MCA or whatever the fuck. And then he more or less gets screwed when Bobby Brown gets kicked out of the band, but then uses that as a leveraging to release his own solo album. So you can see the infighting. That's kind of tragic. But yet these guys at different times always stick up for each other. There was a moment when, when even like 8 or 9 or 10-year-old kid, and I guess it's Ralph, gets offered by the big guy from Boston, the producer guy, Maurice Starr. He says, I want you to be your solo guy or whatever the fuck. And basically Ralph's like, not without my boys, not without my gang, not without my guys, my teammates, my partners, my collaborators, my band, New Edition, we're together. So I respected that. I mean, I liked that a lot. That was like, honesty and integrity and loyalty. And those things are tested through this horrible music industry. And I thought it was a good rendition of that. That's, same story told differently. And then there's a big fight. Bobby and one of the guys, Ricky, or I get the names mixed up, sorry. But I think Bobby is giving the guy a hard time. And they end up rolling over his fucking foot with the limo. And then he comes after him and he spits on Bobby Brown. And then Bobby charges him and they have a big fight. And, then like they're gonna kick that guy out of the band, but Bobby says no, we're boys, we're friends, we're brothers. And I just thought it was cool, man. So I mean, at times it's a love-hate, but underneath the hate is the love. Okay, so I respected it. What else? I'm trying to think okay, here's the big thing that I liked, which I didn't even know I liked it until now. Watching this whole goddamn thing, I assumed that they were lip syncing the original New Edition music. I really did. I thought it was, like the original. I thought, okay, they're doing a pretty good job lip syncing. That's actually those guys. That's those actors. The kid actors, the adult actors. According to the Wikipedia, which is not the Holy Bible, but Wikipedia says that these guys, these actors, and I don't know all the actors' names, but they said that they all actually sang the New Edition songs, and people were very impressed, and I'm very impressed because they got one over on me. I thought it was lip syncing. I really did. So very impressive. I mean, I remember way back when the Jim Morrison The Doors movie, what's his name? Our buddy there, Val Kilmer from Top Gun and Top Gun Maverick and everything else that he did. Willow, you all great. But basically, Val Kilmer sang the Jim Morrison stuff, which is impressive. So, I mean, I think it is impressive. I mean, what else? I don't know. I just enjoyed it. I mean, I just thought it was a fun thing to watch. I didn't, all these streaming goddamn devices, and every time I talk on the phone with some person, a friend perhaps, it's always, you gotta watch this, Mike. You gotta watch this. I don't have time to watch all these goddamn suggestions. You know what I mean? Like, everybody's got all these fucking suggestions. Well, I don't have an infinite amount of time to sit there and watch all these suggestions. So when I feel like watching something, I'll watch something. So this fucking New Edition thing came up. I felt like it was an important, this is good for a guy like me because I didn't know all this stuff. Like I kind of had a casual understanding of the Johnny Gill coming in and all that stuff. I kind of had a casual knowing. But I wasn't like a connoisseur. I didn't, pay attention on a daily basis. I didn't watch, Bet every single day, or BET as you might call it. I call it Bet. People used to give me a hard time. I say, oh, what are you watching on Bet? And they say, oh, it's BET, you asshole. Well, sorry, it looks like Bet to me. But in any event, I thought this series was fun. I thought the actors did a great job. Well produced. Apparently it was a BET original. Which was nice. Their first scripted series. I thought that he did a great job. Of course, BET or Bet puts themselves over because the climax of the film is the fucking New Edition reunion. And I am inspired, to be honest with you, to go and to find some of this fucking footage. I will go down the rabbit hole of New Edition. I mean, I'll be honest with you, when I was a kid, I just kind of thought New Edition was like a one-hit wonder, and then Bobby Brown I kind of forgot Bobby Brown was even in them. I knew Belle Biv DeVoe was in them, but I thought that they were more like the groundwork for other stuff, like just warped perception of reality on my end. I thought that like the solo careers and the Belle Biv DeVoe trio, that was the big deal. Like, to me, that was the big stuff. Like, oh yeah, Bobby Brown's huge. These Belle Biv DeVoe guys are fucking huge. Poison in effect. Me and the Crew used to do her. All these wonderful things, these wonderful lyrics. But I thought they were all, that was the big deal. I didn't realize that New Edition was the big deal. And so forth. Just such an interesting thing. I mean, I wonder how these guys are doing now. I'm glad that they're all still alive. Apparently, they're all still alive and doing their thing. And they've been through tribbles and tribulations and so forth. I guess I'm most curious about this Ralph guy, and did his album, whatever it was called, like Heaven Help Us or whatever the fuck, did his album ever come out? Like that first solo album that he felt like he got screwed on? I would really like to know if that came out. So if anyone has a fucking wonderful comment or a question or a query, feel free to leave it. If you don't. We're all friends here. So anyway, that's it, folks. So I give BET, or BET, as I used to say, a big thumbs up. I give all the actors, the guy that played Brooke, their manager / choreographer, I thought he did a really nice job. Oh, okay, here's the other thing I thought about this thing. I felt not bad, but just like, wow, like the music industry, even in the 80s and 90s, was still ripping off guys. These guys are busting their goddamned asses to perform music for you people, and they're not getting money. So that kind of pissed me off. But anyway, that's it, folks. So a new edition story. Good job, Bet.